just so proud of my team. And I watch them every single day work and believe and work and believe and work and believe and stay together and work and believe and trust and listen to us as coaches and give us a chance to coach them. And I'm so thankful for them. I'm so proud of their effort. I'm so happy that they got a chance to have something tangible that comes out of all the work they've put in. And how fitting that it took really every phase, every way possible to scratch out the victory. And I couldn't be more pleased. So proud of Brennan. I thought he played an amazing game. And that's just the beginning. As we saw from the Duke game to the Clemson game when he had a chance to go back-to-back. Now you see Miami to this game and go back-to-back. He has such an amazing future in running and throwing and leading, and he's so competitive. We had all different kinds of contributors. Shane Simpson running the football, Wayne running the football, the different receivers catching it, the tight ends catching it, some special teams plays, and it was a complimentary game. It took our entire program, and I wouldn't want it any other way. Really pleased with our offensive plan and production from beginning to end. I love the balance, the different contributors, and I thought we controlled the game. UNC, man, they battle. They're so explosive, and you're never really safe with the way they can throw the ball. But we made enough plays, and we made the critical plays to win the game, and I'm happy and thankful to my team, and just so gratified to see them celebrate.
Bronco, I feel like there's 100 plays I could ask you about, but I'll ask first about the fake punt. How much debate, if any, was there among the coaches, and was that ultimately your call, or is that Coach Bronco's call?
No, it's my call because, man, if you don't get that, they're in great field position, and that's a game winner or probably a game loser. And the head coach is the only one that makes those. And that was a lonely feeling. But I trust the fake. I've seen it work in practice, and I loved who was doing it in KT. And, yeah, it didn't even go the way we thought it would. But I thought it gave our team the best chance after all that battle. I wasn't going to go out just passively. And so, yeah, I chose to go for it.
One quick follow-up. How's Brennan doing?
Don't know.
He couldn't finish the game.
I don't know.
Bronco, when you were hired, one of the slogans you talked to us about was will before skill. This is a two-part question. Do you think you've improved the skill level in your program dramatically? And on a night like this, did it feel like maybe the will part was still the more important part?
Yeah, and will before is sequential. It doesn't really mean by priority because you need both. But I don't like to focus on the skill part until I think the resiliency and the determination is in place. It's been a challenge to get all that done during COVID and trying to get ready to play, but really that's happening while we're playing. You know, it's just the timing's different. But when I saw the different players touching the ball, especially, and the different contributors today, certainly the will was more important with enough skill. Collectively, that would be the formula. We have enough skill collectively as a team with a really strong mindset that's developing.
Sam Howell threw for 443 yards and 4 touchdowns. You were still able to actually win the game.
Yeah.
What does that say about your offense, maybe, that it's able to partake in that kind of shootout?
Oh, the offenses was the primary reason or the driver of our win tonight because of not only the points we scored, but the time of possession and the consistency through the whole game. While UNC was launching rockets over and over again and scoring so fast, we were fairly methodically but effectively moving the ball, and then scoring. And so they really didn't have a chance to be balanced. We're strong against the run, and so they were an exceptional run team, but that really wasn't the way the game went. And so, Yeah, we have lots and lots of work to do in terms of defending the pass, but let's also face it, UNC is really good on offense, and we found a way to win the game, but it was primarily through the consistency of our offense tonight, of moving it and scoring with time of possession, and then it got to right to the end where you have to make a critical call and make a critical play to win, but that's the nature of the game.
Bronco, it's Doug Dowdy. Could you talk about your grad transfers or your transfers, Cole Jam, Simpson, and Keaton Thompson? What kind of contributions they made tonight?
Well, they're essential. We identified needs, and I don't think it's wise to bring a graduate transfer unless they're going to have a significant contribution and role, because they don't have much time and we don't have much time. And so I want people to be happy. I want them to be fulfilled. I want them to have the roles that can help them grow and progress. And Tony and Shane and Keaton and Rashawn Henry as well. And then if you flip on the defensive side, and D'Angelo Amos and Adib. So there's more visible and less visible, and I'm thankful that they're all here, and we needed them, and we still need them, and they fit into our culture so well. They're all unselfish, they're all hard workers, they're all coachable, and I'm thankful they're here. So they've been really a strong boost for our program in positions of need, and so I'm thankful.
Bronco, can you talk about the strategy in your last scoring drive? It was 15 plays, took up 9 minutes of the clock, and how important that was, just your overall thinking on that drive?
We just what you said. We wanted to score, but we wanted it to take as long as possible because they were scoring so fast. And so the shorter the game was, the better chance we had to win. And so the primary focus was to have the ball on the ground. And with different runners and different plays, we were able to occupy the clock and have the chains move and score. They had, I believe, a personal foul along the way, too, out of frustration, which happens a lot of times when the ball's being run effectively on you or the game might be slipping away. So it was exactly, and Robert did a masterful job pulling off exactly what we needed in that situation.
Bronco, Coach Howell talked about on Wednesday just a pillar game. Would you rate this as a pillar game, just the way that, the different areas complemented each other tonight?
There are areas of the program that we have specific metrics that hit pillars, and they're measurable. And so there's areas of our program tonight that hit pillars and others that did not hit their pillar. So when we talk about a pillar game, we're talking about standards over time that are predictors of winning. And that's since and the research is only specific to me as the head coach and our program, and so we know what those are. Sometimes they go out the window when one side has such a strong performance as our offense did tonight, and so our offense really compensated for the additional scores that UNC had above our pillar number.
Coach, we didn't see Richard Burney out there. I was just curious what his situation is.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll address that most likely on Monday. And so Richard was not available tonight, and I'll need to address that in probably a more appropriate time. So most likely in Monday's press conference, Tuesday's press conference, with his permission, I'll be able to address that appropriately.
When you start preparing for Louisville and the final stretch of the season, what impact does a win in this game have? I know the coaches would have showed up and the players would have showed up for work on Monday, but is there a tangible difference when you're coming off a win, particularly a win over a ranked team like this?
The tangible difference is just mindset. This team will keep working regardless. That's just who they are. It's just more fun, right? Let's just face it. It's just more fun. And I like I like to see our players, when they work so hard, have fun. And I love to see them smile, and I love to see them carry themselves in a way that they're proud of the outcome. And there's been so many really cool plays that I can celebrate with them in team meetings, but it's not the same, right, when the world doesn't see them. And so it just is, if I had to just streamline the question down, it's just more fun. And I'm happier for them, and that's those memories don't go away.
If somebody,
Mike Barber and, I'm sorry, Jeff, Jeff, I'll let you follow up, and then we'll have Mike Barber and Dennis Heimer for our final two questions.
yeah, I was just gonna say, if someone had told you before the game that it would end with Lindell Stone kneeling twice, what would you have thought the probability of that?
I would say that we're playing football in a pandemic, and what I've learned so far is I don't have any idea what's going to happen on a weekly basis, and you got to be ready for anything. And so you could probably give me any scenario, yeah, and I'd say, yep, it's possible.
Bronco, we talked earlier in the year about the lack of impactful plays Charles Snowden was making. Obviously, the last 2 weeks, that's kind of been out the window. What has he done to get himself going, and how important has that been for you guys?
You know, he's just been himself. He's been a great leader kind of through his words and through his presence. But without the performance part, you know, it's not quite the same in terms of igniting and helping your team. And your leadership doesn't quite go as far. And we presented the defensive staff and, you know, presented it that that's needed. This team needs that. And it wasn't that he wasn't trying before, and it wasn't that he wasn't doing his job. It just was on his part an increased focus, and we needed to manage him a little bit better. He was playing and practicing a little bit too much, a little bit too hard, so we because he goes hard, so we had to start resting him more in practice, which just kind of freshened him up. And then with his mindset clear, with his mindset kind of more specific and his body fresher, just that little tweak kind of now here he goes, and we've seen it the last 2 weeks.
Coach, Keaton Thompson seemed like he did a little bit of everything tonight. What's it mean to have a guy who's sort of willing to buy in? He's willing to play special teams, offense, receiver, wildcat quarterback. What's that mean?
He's becoming one of the cultural stories or cultural examples that we can present when a player comes into our program. Bill Belichick has this saying, the more you can do, the more you can do. And I added my own sentence to that, and the more that you can do, the more valuable you are. And so Keaton, he does everything. At one point I heard a former player of mine, Taysom Hill, who plays for the Saints, and he plays multiple positions. And I think there was a commercial, and someone was asking what position he plays, and he said football. And so that's what we're saying for Keaton. And so when you list the position, it'd be smart just to put football underneath, because we're going to use him. He might be setting a record for the most different positions played in a game each and every week. And we're so thankful he's here because we need him.